I'm Brandon, I play drums.
I'm Kieran, and I sing.
I'm Andy, I play bass.
I'm Josh, play guitar.
Started listening to the Sherlocks in around 2014 when I heard them through my dad, who was listening and playing them around the house, and I got used to hearing the songs and listening to the music. I then first saw the Sherlocks in 2015, and from then I saw them about 8 times that year, so it really hit off from there.
Started listening to the Sherlocks in 2013. Came across them on Facebook and they was advertising that they had their first headline gig at the O2 Academy in Sheffield. So after seeing that, I mentioned to my parents, who I go and watch them with a lot, that I'd like to go and see that gig, and they suggested coming to see them in this venue that we're filming in today, because they were doing a cover set there. So we came to this first to check them out, see if we enjoyed them.
So about halfway through 2016, I was on social media quite a lot, and I saw the name the Sherlocks, and I thought, what a fantastic name for a band, the Sherlocks. Kept seeing them more and more and more, and then I listened to the music. Eventually it was fantastic. I've never stopped listening to them since.
Well, the first time I saw the Sherlocks was the first time I heard them. Some friends got tickets to their Christmas party at the Angel at Bolton-upon-Dearne, 19th of December 2014, so that was the first time I saw and heard them.
I first listened to the Sherlocks on the outskirts of Huddersfield at a local pub. A friend of mine had seen them before and said how great they were, how good they were. So me and another friend went down. I think it was a Sunday evening, and they were absolutely fantastic. They just blew my mind from what they could sing, from the Beach Boys to the Jam to Fleetwood Mac to Madness. They could have sung anything. Well, they did sing anything. They were fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
I started listening to Sherlocks around 2014 after a friend of mine had been to see them at the Princess Alice in Middlesbrough and recommended highly that I should listen and get on board with this band.
I started listening to the Sherlocks about 2013. I was introduced to them by a friend of mine, Bob Elshaw. He'd been and seen them at a gig at the Academy, and he'd picked up a Green Car demo CD, of which he'd mentioned he'd seen them. I had listened to them on YouTube. He lent me the CD, I had listened to it, liked what I heard, and it sort of went from there.
Brandon and Kieran started at school when they were 11 years old. They were here right through till they were 18. They were fantastic students. And when Kieran was leaving in 2014, the Sherlocks came and they played a set for all of our students. It was fantastic.
In 2014 we went to a gig at the Cutler's Arms in Rotherham. It was a small intimate gig, mixture of a few Sherlock fans like ourselves and locals. Lads put on a good gig, some of their stuff themselves, some covers, and then after the gig we approached them, asked for a couple of photos. They were a little bit chatty, had the photos done, and that was that.
Well, I first met them and they was doing a covers set, so doing covers of other people's songs. But during the set they'd throw in one or two of their own material as well. So after watching the full set, I said to my dad, oh, I really like their own stuff, that they do more than doing the covers. So after that my dad went down and spoke to the band and they actually had some demos of songs, about 12 songs I think, on a CD. So I went up to them and they gave us the 12 songs, and then after that we just kept playing them and playing them in car.
They just blew my mind for such a young group of lads, so talented. Kieran's voice was so unique to anything. I was just in awe of them, and I just started to follow them.
The Sherlocks came up with the idea of coming back to play in the school, and we thought it was just a fantastic way for our students to see some inspirational role models, because the boys were local lads, so they were very relatable, and our students, some of them would have known them, and we just thought that it was a fantastic way for our students to be motivated.
I first met the Sherlocks in 2015 and it was an amazing experience. I went to see them play at the Plug in Sheffield, and I went with my friend and my mum and dad as well. And after the gig, which we thoroughly enjoyed, me and my friend got to meet the Sherlocks as they came into the club afterwards, and my mum and dad, who are friends with Brandon and Kieran's mum and dad, introduced us to them. And it was a great experience to be able to meet them and chat to them, as they're really down to earth and were interested in getting to know the fans. And that day we had pictures taken with them that we still have now, and it was a great experience.
When things don't seem to go your way, the whole world's gagging up. It's devised a blind and sent a telegram by the law. Whoa, you're acting strange and you feel deranged. You're lost in solitude. You're thinking about the future, now it drives you mad. So please don't try and run before you can walk, and don't jump the gun. Live for the moment, you'll never know what's coming around the corner. We'll have to go sometime.
I met the Sherlocks initially having looked for them and offered to put a show on at Northallerton Town Hall, which they took up the offer, and I was amazed when they turned up and there was just these 4 young lads barely out of school and that could play and perform and write, as Kieran does, the tunes and the lyrics that they had heard being performed. Speaking to them, I remember instinctively speaking to Andy and saying, are you a Sheffield Red or a Sheffield Blue? To getting the answer, I haven't got time for football, pal, I have to concentrate and perform our music. That then showed the dedication and that the journey was going to be long and very successful.
What happened was the Sherlocks put up on social media that they were going to have a house party at somebody's house for 50 people, no more, just 50 people. As long as you pre-ordered the album, you could possibly get yourself on the guest list. So you had to, first of all, send in a little bit of proof that you had bought the album. And this house party turned out to be at a guy called Nev Craggs' pub in Northallerton. And I wasn't quite sure what to expect when I got there. And I walked into the pub, and Nev Craggs and his wife directed me to the back of the pub, where the Sherlocks gig was going on. So I walked around the pub to the back, and just out the corner of my eye, I happened to see some guys sitting down at the table. And when I turned around, it was the Sherlocks. I couldn't believe it. The Sherlocks, they were just sitting there like any other 4 guys in a pub, and they all said hello. And I was gobsmacked, couldn't believe it. Sat down, had a bit talk with all of the guys, and they were all fantastic. we started talking about tour buses. And I said to the guys, look, you need to get yourself a bigger tour bus now, guys. It's going to be massive. And all four of them looked at the manager as if to say, when we're going to get this bigger tour bus, which I thought was quite funny. And yeah, the guys were absolutely fantastic. They had as much time for me as I had for them. Yeah, really great guys.
I met Brandon first of all at said Christmas party that I went to the first time I saw them, which was December 2014. 5 days later they played a small set at Players nightclub in Sheffield, and I met and spoke with Kieran then, and that's when I started getting to know them. And yeah, they were just ordinary down-to-earth lads, but musically they were tight.
But let's start from the end. It's a long road back to where we've been. If you wanna go, so just tell me all your problems. I've been longing to solve them, 'cause I hate to see you down.
What's your weirdest fan story?
Weirdest. A super fan of yours traveled all the way from Uruguay to your village in Bolton upon Dern to tell you how much he loved. That is a really long trip. That's South America, right? I mean,
yeah. They were from Uruguay.
Uruguay, yeah.
A guy from Uruguay. Sorry, I had to crack that.
That's huge, but he wasn't like crazy, like, or anything like that, right?
No,
he was just
he
like total fan, like.
What was his name now? George, top man. He basically just organised this trip, like a bit of a bucket list. Wanted to do certain things, and one of the things he wanted to do whilst he were over here is come and meet us. I don't know. It must have been insane.
I found the Sherlocks thanks to YouTube in 2015 in my country, Uruguay. And I was so amazed with their music that I decided to come to England on the next year, 2016, stay in Sheffield, and on the 12th of July I took the train to Bolton upon Dern because I realized them and the pub where they shoot the old music video Live for the Moment was from that city. So as soon as I arrived to town, I was very lucky because I saw a guy, Darren.
I was talking to some friends on a street, and I saw a guy stood to the side of me, and he looked lost. So I stopped talking to my friends and I went over and I asked if he needed my help.
I asked him for the Sherlocks.
So I know where they rehearsed, so we went to the pub.
To the Angel. We asked the barmaid for the Sherlocks. She took the phone, called Brandon, the drummer. She talked to him, and when she hung out, she said, they will be here in 10 minutes.
So 10 minutes later, the Sherlocks walked through the door.
And I was so amazed, so impressed with them. They were so humble, so normal guys, 4 lads from Bolton upon Dern, and they were not rock stars. They were so simple, and that was one of the best days of my life. I will never forget that day.
Home and it's light from the night before.
When I first met the band, one of the things that surprised me the most was how easy they were to talk to. And when you were speaking to them after gigs or whenever you bumped into them, it was really easy to just have a conversation with them about seemingly normal things. And it wasn't this notion of they were like famous people who wouldn't speak to people who you couldn't have a conversation with. And they were really realistic and like having a conversation with a friend down the pub.
They were just so friendly. All the boys were so friendly, so natural, so lovely to talk to. They'd come and say hello. I remember Brandon wearing flip-flops while I was drumming. I just thought, brilliant.
One thing that really surprised me about them was their dedication and single-mindedness on where they were going to go. 4 young lads, Bolton-on-Doon, spoke to them about football, not even at that age interested in football, Sheffield Wed or Sheffield United. All they were interested in was getting out there and sharing their music with the people that would come along and listen to them.
Even today, as well as they're doing, they're still very approachable lads. They'll spend time talking to you, photos and stuff like that. They ain't got no problem with it.
What surprised me most was that they had a tremendous ability to manage their academic studies and maintain such a strong commitment to developing their musical skills and talents. That was quite a hard job for them to do, and they managed it really well.
My real surprise was Kieran being so honest about Emily and about how it wasn't good enough to come out on an A side. Very honest and very easy to chat to, very humble. What a great guy.
I never really had a surprise with them of how they acted when I met them or anything like that, because when I met them they were like obviously like quite a lot younger than they are now. So they've always been like roughly around my age, members of the band, and they just spoke to me like how I'd speak to any normal person like at school or college or something like that. So I've never really had a surprise with how they are, because they've always acted like 4 normal lads, and like now they've got to the stage where they still act the exact same way. I think people might expect him to have like changed and act like, I don't know, people's perceptions are a big musician, but they still just act same as them 4 normal lads that I met all them year back in the beginning. They've never changed at all.
What didn't surprise me was the fact that they have gone on to become famous. They've got a worldwide fan base, but they still remain the same very genuine, very lovely young men that they were when we knew them in school. And they have a fantastic commitment to their fans.
I want to see as many licenses as possible. This is probably the next top of this. With the candle light, I could wait up with the night while it's giving me the silent treatment that I need. To think of you and everything that I could do, fly to the moon. Well, I'm not leaving anytime soon.
Over the few years that we've been getting to know the Sherlocks, they've done quite a few things for me and for my family and friends. This has included many set lists, signed CDs, signed posters from various gigs that we've been to. One of the best things that they did has been the 2 times where they've played at my house. These moments were quite surreal at first, when for what was a house party, but then for the Sherlocks to walk in and to be playing at my own house was an unbelievable experience to have. And For my friends who at the time were getting to know the band more and more, it was an amazing experience and was quite a bragging rights to say that I'd known the Sherlocks and they'd played in my house.
You try to explain what you want to say. You try and you keep on looking away. She said, I don't know if I feel the same. If nothing's going on, you won't get. You better tell me now before it all unfolds. You're a sweet girl with a heart of gold, but I'm sure you don't know.
The Sherlocks do a lot for the fans. You know, they do the forever signing, memorabilia, putting on shows. There's no band I know that's worked as hard and made themselves so available to the fans to see live in concert.
Well, since they've been going, we've got them all on Friends on Facebook, as you can see behind me. We've got many a signed set list and some signed photos, and like I said, they always spend time with us whenever they can to have photos, have a chat. We've seen Brandon and Kieran out and about at gigs and around town and that. So yeah, they're always very approachable and easygoing lads.
So I remember the first time, one of the first concerts of theirs I went to after the gig, they gave me the set list that they'd use on stage, and that was really cool to me because it's such a cool way to remember the bad gig and that moment and how I felt the first time seeing them. It's such a cool memory to be able to look back on the fact that I've still got this set list now from all the way back then. It's really good.
They were playing in my hometown of Huddersfield one Sunday, I think this was, and Mick had sent me a message to say that they were appearing this particular Sunday, and it happened to be my birthday, so the lads must have found this out. And I'll never forget this. They sang Echo Beach for me, which was, I got up on the stage and danced away. It was absolutely fantastic. I wouldn't get away with doing that now.
They played a fantastic set, an extended set with some old classics, with some more new songs, more recent songs, and they ended the set with a new single that they'd just released, Heart of Gold. In fact, they were so good that we asked them to come back the second day to play to another group of students. And what I really loved about what they did for us was that they gave a strong, inspirational, motivational message to our students to work hard, but follow your dream because you could be successful. And I thought that was a fantastic message for them, a really inspirational day for our students.
Well, the Sherlocks gave me, for just pre-ordering the album, they gave me a free gig from start to finish, the whole album, acoustic. It was absolutely fantastic, and this was all for nothing. This was just the guys saying thank you to the fans for pre-ordering the album. I mean, what an absolute gift. I've never bought an album where I've gone to a free gig afterwards just simply for buying the album, but that's the Sherlocks for you.
So Michael, the manager of the band, he came up to me one day, this absolutely normal covers gig that they used to do, and he explained to me that they was supporting the Enemy in Stoke, I think it was the Sugar Mill venue, and he said I would want to come along and just help him carry the gear into the venue, watch a gig with him, and then coming up home in the van. And that was just an incredible experience because obviously being able to actually say being to a gig with the band that's playing the gig and coming back at that time, it was something I never thought I'd get to do again or ever do in my life, and I really enjoyed it. Brilliant day.
House, drinking to the early hours. They've signed shirts, I've got signed drumstick. And they obviously think quite a lot of me because when they sign the shirt, they also put a dick on my head with the pen, so they obviously think I'm a dickhead.
Me personally, I've had everything I could possibly hope for and more from them. They've done shows for us. They did a secret gig at my old venue with my wife Michelle, the Fleece. They came and did an acoustic party in the house with the Live for the Moment album. Josh, I've got Josh's guitar, which all the boys signed the night they sold the lead mill out at 1,200 people. Brandon has given me kindly his drum skin from the UK tour. We've had some great times and moments with the lads. My wife and myself went down to Mossborough to see them with supporting Ocean Colour Scene. My wife had been seriously ill, and Kieran, God bless him, donated Chasing Shadows to her while she was stood in the audience. Little things like that are never ever forgotten by fans, and they have never forgotten where they're from. And the one thing I would like to say is there is a 5th member of that band that does not get anywhere near the recognition other than from the band themselves, and that's Michael. He has been everything alongside and the silent 5th member of the Sherlocks. Josh, we were at the Q Bar watching them in Stockton, and it was an over 18s gig, and some young girls, 16ish, had bought tickets to get in, but the door staff security wouldn't allow them in. So they stood outside looking through the window where they could just see the stage in the rain and watched the whole set. As the set finished and they finished with Chasing Shadows as normal, Josh put his guitar straight down, grabbed a stick off Brandon, grabbed his plectrum, set lists, signed it all, and ran straight outside in the rain to present them 2 girls, because he knew they'd stood there in that rain for the whole of that set. And he never even made a scene about it. He just went out, did what he felt was right for them girls, and whoever they are, they'll never ever forget Josh Davison or the Sherlocks from that night. And that's just everything. The whole band are all like that.
Just pass me by, but nobody gets me like you do. I'm all for open arms, the inside joke, the deafening silence punchline.
In 2018, I came back to Sheffield. I wrote Nicky, the Sherlock's manager, and also Kieran and Brandon's father. And he helped me to do a surprise. He took me to their house, and again they couldn't believe I was in England. They should believe I am mad. Obviously they spent like 1.5 hours again talking with me, chilling out. I gave them Uruguayan football team t-shirts. They gave me Sherlock's t-shirts, and yeah, it was amazing, great time. But the main thing here is that they invited me to go to Finsbury Park on the 29th of June to a festival that they were playing with Liam Gallagher, and I was very lucky because that day that I felt like Homer Simpson with the Rolling Stones. Unforgettable.
You're always right and I'm always wrong. You're always right and I'm always left holding on to the handles of excuses.
I did a lot for them in the beginning. I tried to get to every gig I could with me and my friends. Got the t-shirts, went to a few mini festivals, got the CD, Kieran signed me their album on vinyl, and I remember me and a friend of mine, I think it was the first road trip, we went to Glasgow. What a day that was. And even the boys, Mick, we all travelled up to Glasgow together. It was just amazing. It was just an amazing experience, one I'll cherish forever.
I haven't done nothing for them. You know, the Sherlocks do everything. I share the music, I make people aware, I help people become aware that they're touring, which is, everybody does that for them. What would I do for them? There's very little I wouldn't do if ever they needed anything. These lads deserve all the support and the backing and accolades that they're receiving, and there'll be many, many more to come in future years.
Well, I've got the t-shirts, 2 of them. I bought the album twice. I went to the gigs quite a few times as well. To be honest, I would do anything for the Sherlocks, absolutely anything. I would carry the gear, anything they wanted.
So at one point, when we were a lot smaller than we are now, we'd like go and see them like maybe once, twice a weekend when we were just playing like locally. So when we'd go and watch the cover gigs, that'd be completely different to going and watching one of their headline like own music sets. So when they did their own like headline gigs, like I used to, before they like had their own like t-shirts made like this, we used to like design his own t-shirts to wear because they didn't have any band merchandise at that time. So you needed to make your own if you wanted any, so that's what I used to do.
I'd say the thing that I did that's probably helped the Sherlocks on the journey to where they are now the most would be through getting my friends into following the band. Because when I first started following them, only maybe 1 or 2 of my friends had even heard of them. But then through playing the music in like the sixth form common room through the speakers, and through getting my friends to the house parties, the following that were friends with me developed, and more my friends got into the Sherlocks and started going to gigs and supporting the band through their journey.
We gave them the opportunity to come back into school, to showcase their musical skills, their talents, play their songs, play their music to students who were local young people living in the same area in which the Sherlocks had grown up in. But more particularly, I think, we gave them the opportunity that they wanted to come back into school and give something back to the school community that they had belonged to.
Well, they've done loads of gigs around the country with them. We've done festivals. The memorable coach trip to Liverpool with them, which as all we remember was quite a long journey there and back. The CDs, the vinyls, the t-shirts, and just generally listening to all the music, what they've put out for us over the years since 2013 for us. And basically to say, as long as I can keep following them, as long as my legs will let me and you keep putting music out, I'll be there as long as I can be. Cheers.
Did a lot for them. I've been to in excess of 20 gigs. I've been as far as Milan, just went there with a couple of friends, just literally for their festival and come back the next day. But the overriding thing that I think I've probably done for them, we went to Liverpool to the Magnet Club in a mini coach with the band on board. The lads came, they were sat at the back, and it was a small gig, about 100 people, and I got hit in the head by a flying glitter ball that someone had taken off of the ceiling and thrown, and I had no idea that I had a large cut on my head. Kieran actually stopped to check if I was all right. Me, couldn't give a fuck. I was going to stop until the end of the gig, which I did, and then had it cleared up after. Sherlocks Army, isn't it?
Steering with. Everybody else, come on, coach. On the coach trip, we're steering. Announcement. That's one. Right? Anyone else want to go to smoke? That's one.
In one ear and out the other, are we fall into another? Is it too good to be true? It probably is, but we're too far in to turn back. Nobody knows it's all about you.
Well, before I actually met the Sherlocks, I thought they were a very decent band. And then I happened to meet them at the house party, and I remember I came away from that night feeling like I'd met 4 new friends, basically. I had 4 new friends who happened to just be the Sherlocks, and it wasn't just the fact of being a fan, I was a friend.
Before I met them, the Sherlocks were just another band, writing their own music, working hard, trying to get the breaks. Having met them, it's very simple. They're friends. They are friends of the family, whether it be the mum Julie, down to the dad Michael, Brandon, Kieran, Josh and Andy. They are the friends. Friends with an amazing talent and work ethic.
Before I'd met the Sherlocks, I'd been told about them by my dad, who time and time again kept saying, listen to this band, they're great. And I just thought, oh, it'll just be another rubbish band that my dad's found. And I was wrong. And in the end, when I started listening to them, as my dad played them around the house, I got to love the music and fell in love with the band and their music, which went on to me going to see the gigs and watching them perform and developing friendships, not only with the band and their parents and people who my parents made friends with, but other people my age who I met at gigs and got along with through love of their music.
So they've gone from being 4 lads that I didn't know at all to being asked to go on tour with them and sell the merchandise for them and just have such an amazing time for the full 18-day tour that we went on, like being on the bus, having drinks, having a laugh, getting to know them personally, and that's what means most to me about this band.
At first, when I first heard them, I was curious about these 4 young local lads and what they were going to sound like. Went and seen them several times, were impressed with what I heard, got to know them, got to follow them about, watch them in different places, and now would hopefully like to think that I'm now included in a special group of friends what follow the Sherlocks about.
Well, when I first saw the boys, they were just 4 lads, 2 sets of brothers, playing at local gigs, local pubs, clubs, just for fun. But, boy, now, wow, I've watched them grow. What a fan base they've got. They're such genuine such a genuine set of lads. They always take time to talk to the fans. They've spoken to me, said hello, had a bit of a chat, and I'm sure, despite, you know, we're not in contact, but I'm sure if I were to message one of them now, they'd respond. They're amazing.
We're so very proud of the Sherlocks. Not only are they a fantastic group of young men, they are also a fantastic set of musicians. They've been in school with us from the age of 11, and we have been so proud to be part of that journey all the way through to leaving school and to going on to become as successful as they are right now. And we know that they've got lots more success to come. We love the Sherlocks.
At first, my parents made friends with Julie and Mickey Crook, Brandon and Kieran's mum and dad. And then from that, through seeing them at gigs and getting to know them more and more, I too have become friends with them.
Before I met the Sherlocks, I'd never heard of them. I literally met them on the first day. So beforehand, nothing. Now, I love them to bits. I regard them as good, close friends. that just happen to be in a band that is getting better and better all the time. I'm really proud of them.
You spend half your wage before you get paid on a brand new dress before the escapade. You know there'll be nothing to show but a bruise on your arm and a crack on your phone that you can't quite remember how it came, but next week you'll be doing it all again. Well, next week you'll be doing it all again. Why is everybody so in love?
All the fans that go to the gigs regularly are all known as, and they're getting more and more known as, the Sherlocks Army, and it's something we're all very proud of. And being on that journey on that bus with them lads from a very early stage and seeing how it is growing internationally with the strength and the work and the shows they're putting on throughout the world, and long may it continue.
I don't feel like a customer or just a normal fan of the Sherlocks. I feel part of the Sherlocks Army.
Am I a fan? Am I a customer? Nah, I'm part of the Sherlocks Army.
Personally, I feel that I'm not just another fan, and I'm not just a customer selling tickets to. I am part of the Sherlocks Army.
I don't feel like a customer. I don't feel like a simple fan. I am part of the Sherlocks Army.
At first I was curious, then I became a fan, but now I'm part of the Sherlocks Army.
So I feel like I've gone from just being somebody that goes to watch a band to being part of the community, being part of the Sherlocks Army.
I don't class myself as just being a fan. I'm proud and privileged to be part of the Sherlocks Army. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Sherlocks Army.
Is anybody over there? Are you following me? I look into the distance as far as I can see. You said you had an early night to catch up on your sleep, but I heard you went out last night. You were never off your feet.
Believe me, I'm not nervous. It's
In the village where I live, I've done it again, Anta. Sorry.
The Sherlocks came and played for the whole students. Okay.
And then
To the point where I could start again. Pause.
Right, I'm looking there, not looking at you.
Sherlocks,
I feel... Oh, it's gone.
they've given me several hangovers.
Sherlocks Army.
they were so... Ah, God, there.
But now I'm part of the Sherlocks Army.
I came back to England in
We have a very strong
Cut.
they've got a very lot.
Cut.
Probably their damn.
mad. Oh, God.
And they obviously think a lot of me because when they signed my shirt, they also drew a dick on my forehead. So obviously, to them, I must be a dickhead.